It's Diane with NJ Revolution Radio, our Wednesday evening program. We have Brian Powers is with us live in the field this evening.
Hey, everybody.
He's reporting from Toms River North, specifically Toms River North High School, right?
Yeah, as some people may remember, we were here last month covering a school board member who made some hateful comments towards Islamic members of Congress. And so we're back here again, to follow up and see what kind of community response is. There's a smaller number of activists here, but I did talk to them, and they're still making demands of this community. So I'm probably going to get up and speak tonight. I was directly targeted by this guy after the last meeting. I didn't say anything. I just came out and did the live stream and spoke with some residents, kind of acted more as a reporter than an activist. But he felt compelled to put my picture on his Facebook page and call me out, as well as threaten members of the public who weren't even doing that. I mean, he put a woman who was holding a sign and made derogatory slurs towards her. And that woman was walked out to her car by law enforcement. Tonight, if you can take a look around, if we were here last week, this lobby was like surrounded with cops. So, Diane, you were here with me, remember? And I see there's still a police presence here. It seems, they're still patting people down. I've never been patted down on the way into a school board meeting before. And I've gone to school board meetings all over the state. So obviously there's still, either that's normal security in Toms River, which I probably guess wouldn't, or they're continued to be secure. But it's not as many people, but I think the public comments portion is still coming from people who are concerned. That woman whom he did threaten on Facebook did show back up. I showed back up. We'll see what kind of reaction there's been from the community here in Toms River over the last month. But he's still on that board, and he's yucking it up with a couple other board members before the meeting. It seems like all's been forgiven here in Toms River by that school board, and we'll see how the community feels about that.
Yeah, and it's my understanding that he is not seeking re-election, but the bigger issue is get off the board. You're making decisions until your term ends, and he's made some really horrific, disgusting Islamophobic comments. I don't even want to, give him more of a platform. I think we haven't said his name, and I know that, he has his name, team whatever Facebook page.
And he has his platform here, and the last meeting he chose to stand silent and insult members on Facebook. I mean, he sat on stage and he was asked by members of the public to comment on these things, and he sat there with a big smirk on his face while he was threatening, his own community on Facebook. So clearly the man's a gutless coward. He has his platform right now tonight, and let's see if he uses it. I doubt he will, but I have my platform here, and I didn't use it the last time, but I'm probably going to go up there and say a few words tonight.
Good.
And I also have my podcast and a network of activists. Good. And this is our state, and I'm going to go up there and let my feelings be known, because he chose to involve me. The community of Toms River deserves better than this. The state of New Jersey deserves better than this. And I don't know that this one particular person is the problem. You've got a whole community here that seems to, like I said, they're up there. I was watching beforehand. There's a couple of board members yucking it up on stage, trading laughs and bumping elbows and showing each other funny glasses. This is a big joke, not just to him, but to other members of this community. And I personally am not going to allow that to happen without speaking out and doing what I can to let them know that this isn't acceptable. It's just not acceptable. This guy doesn't deserve that kind of honor or respect, and they're giving it to him. They think it's over. They think he's done. They don't care. It's clear.
But he's still on the board. He has power. He makes decisions about children's education. When we have, just the disgusting hateful comments we were talking about primarily. I know a lot of it was Islamophobic, but he targets anyone, and he's he'll go off the rails on anything, because he's just. I actually, I'm not a armchair psychiatrist, but it seems like there's something not right with. Like you said, last meeting that we were at together, that he's actually posting things on Facebook about the community members that were outside having a protest, because he's putting out hate. And it was like a 12-year-old boy, like a bully. You know?
Clearly, you're not going to get to this guy. Clearly, he's not
Yeah.
going to quit. But the fact of the matter is, right, you point out these things that he's doing, and then I'm sitting here watching him yuck it up with his community, watching people rub elbows with him. And I'll tell you what, there were, I spoke to some community members beforehand, and they said, no, he didn't step down. And yes, he said he's not running for reelection. But if he did want to run for reelection, he probably could, and he probably would win because there's that much hate and racism in Tom's River. And they're not taking it seriously. And that's why he's still sitting on that school board. So I think that, if we're going to focus on getting one guy out off a school board, we're missing the whole point. When you have an entire township of about 100,000 people and a school system that serves 11,000 students and parents and teachers who have tolerated hate to the point of where this guy sits on a school board today, laughing and threatening members of his own community. And he's up there today, a month later, and I just watched it 2 seconds ago, bumping elbows and laughing it up with a couple of his fellow school board members. So clearly they're not bothered by his hate and intolerance on this school board as much as I am, or as much as the people in the audience are. So we'll see what they have to say about that.
Yeah, no, it's great if you make some public comments, speak out during the public comments section. And I remember at the last meeting, it seemed like the majority of the board members, or at least a good amount, had a problem with him. And I remember there was, what I remember were two women that were sitting in close proximity to him that were, sharing things and whispers back and forth and laughing. So I'm assuming
Same ones this time. Same ones this time. She was letting him try on her glasses before the meeting. They were laughing about how he looked in her glasses.
Okay. So, you may want to, I don't know if they're up for re-election this term or not, but people may want to check out what they're putting out there and what their positions are, because that's, it's just really disturbing if this is, the guy you're chummy with and laughy with is just apparently from the stuff he's put out there, he's a disturbed individual. I don't know where that much hate and anger comes from.
He's frequently brought up his military service. The board, even during the last meeting, consistently said, well, we thank him for his military service. Well, I was in the military, Diane, and I'm not exactly proud of my military service, and I don't advocate for people to go into the military. However, I'm a veteran, and I served 4 years, and I'm not racist. I'm not putting things on Facebook calling whole groups of people terrorists. And I really would appreciate it if people out there would stop using my military service and all those who have served our military without being complete racists and ignorant fools. Stop crediting people that use this kind of language with their military service. He's not worthy of that kind of respect. In my just because you're in the military is not a credit to your character at all. Anybody can join the military. If they let me in, they'll let anybody in. I'll tell you that. So I mean, to use that as some kind of excuse to tolerate hate is a personal insult to every veteran who's not a racist, and I hope that's most of us.
No, absolutely.
So that's where we're at.
So you're gonna be streaming?
Thanks for coming to the studio tonight. Sure. I know you got a few minutes here. I believe Craig's going to join us in what time is it? About 10 minutes.
So did you want to talk about some of the upcoming events?
I do. I have to give some plugs, and so I'll do my commercials from the road here. We will be next week. Will not be a regular show for New Jersey Revolution Radio Live. We'll be coming at you a little earlier. We're going to start at 5:00 next Wednesday from the Newark Public Library with a 1-hour pre-show that will lead up to our first community cannabis forum. There's going to be 3 of them, but the first stop's going to be at Newark, and that's going to be at 5:00 next Wednesday, September 25th, Newark Public Library. I'm going to be there. New Jersey Weed Man is going to be there. Justice Roundtree from 360 Poetry Night is going to be there. We're going to have some surprise guests. We're going to talk about mass incarceration. We're going to talk about cannabis legislation. We're going to talk about feminism in cannabis legislation. That's some stuff that's been coming up, and I can't wait to hear the women of New Jersey Revolution speak out on that issue. So there's going to be the intersectional issues that corporate cannabis corporations are not bringing up. These other cannabis events, if you will, are all about making money, opening a weed store, growing weed for for money and getting money. These cannabis events that New Jersey Revolution is running with New Jersey Weed Man is talking about mass incarceration, racism, and all these systemic issues that go alongside it. We're not capitalists, so we're not talking about making money.
Hmm.
So please come out and support that. After that, there's going to be two more shows, one in New Brunswick on October 19th and one November 2nd down in Trenton at Weed Man's Joint. So please check out our Cannabis Forums tab on the website for that. Justice for Jameek. Of course, we ask that people check out that hashtag, Justice for Jameek, and Justice for Jameek Lowry on Facebook. Right now, the family is considering legal options after the coroner's report was kind of released without a toxicology report.
Yeah.
We haven't gotten all the information we need yet, but as you know, I've been in contact with both organizers and people working with the family and the family directly, and they've asked that we keep it down. They appreciate the support. They'll still be going to the city council meetings in Patterson every Tuesday night if you can show up and show support. But as far as information being released at this point, they're being a little careful as they consider legal options. And as an attorney, Diane, you certainly can understand that. But that doesn't mean anything's going away.
Okay.
They're continuing on to seek justice, and we will continue to stand with them.
Sure. Sure.
And
Absolutely.
then XR Rebellion. We didn't talk before the shows. We usually do, but I'd love to hear. I don't want to leave before you give your XR Rebellion reports because this is when I learn what's going on.
Okay. Yeah. And what we have coming up with Extinction Rebellion in New York, there's a day of action. It's actually a global day of action. Monday, October 7th. We're trying to get enough people up, and I think we have a good amount of interested parties for a New Jersey affinity group to be a team doing an action. And Extinction Rebellion,
What's an affinity group?
an affinity group. It's best done when it happens organically, where people are doing direct action together, and it's people, comrades you know and trust, because you've done direct action. When you're doing things that are a little hairy, a little intense, you don't know if who's next to you, who's on the left, who's on the right, who's got your back. So if we can build communities where of people we know, we'll get better at our direct action skills and just build that sense of community. I like it also for the idea of rapid mobilization. um,
Mm.
we're trying to do that in a couple of different places with the peace movement, with the environmental movement, and Extinction Rebellion. I believe and see it to be a tool where we can all learn and grow together, so that when something's going on, like we did have a short lead time for the XR New Jersey action. And if we perfect our skills, we'll be able to pull things together faster, quicker, be just have all the roles filled. An affinity group can have media in it, it can have jail support in it, and non arrestable roles as well as arrestable roles. So when you're handing your bag over to somebody, that it's somebody you know and trust. So I'd like to see that eventually happen. Maybe a New Jersey affinity group that can support New York actions. And as we learn and grow together, we'll be able to do wonderful, meaningful actions in New Jersey, because we know we've got a lot of environmental issues to tackle right here in
Yeah, definitely.
the fine country of New Jersey, right?
That is true. We do need those resources here, but I appreciate your organizing in New York. Did bring some skills, and that's been shown already in the early goings of organizing XR here in New Jersey. And I know that just looking at the climate crisis, the global scale of things, and the activism that surrounds these issues in New Jersey, I think it's time XR come in and start doing its thing. I think it's a much needed component of this environmental revolution that we're seeing.
Hmm.
I know there's a lot of great environmental activism already out there, and I do have appreciation for the groundwork laid.
Hmm.
But I think the science has been clear and stunning over the last couple of years here. The urgency is increasing, and the actions we need to take to get people to act need to be more compelling, so to
Yeah,
speak. So the
let's step
attitude
it
I
up.
know as I get more into the environmental activism here in New Jersey,
Mhm.
I see XR as a much needed component of that. So thanks a lot for organizing it.
Yeah.
Being a small part of it so far has been inspiring, and I hope it continues to have some success. You know.
Well, thanks, and thank you for your support being an arrestable at our
Yeah.
Video Music Awards action, but we will not talk about that,
No,
as
no,
we know.
no.
But
It was is good, and I think we talked a little bit about it in our debrief meeting. I think
mhm.
that the focus has been on the cause. The focus has been on the people of Newark who have
Yep,
been drinking poison water, who have been lied to about it,
yeah,
and who are still not getting a satisfactory response from their government. I know, but since that VMA protest happened, we've seen people hop to. We've seen Cory Booker all of a sudden start to say he's going to get money from the feds, and in the
yeah,
end, Diane, that's what it's about. It's about
absolutely,
making sure we change material conditions on the ground, making sure
absolutely.
that if we got to take a little bit of a risk that we can afford to take, that we take those risks, because in the end, I think that the team of people that protested at the VMAs have had a direct impact on policy, and people have got to fire a little under their ass about this Newark water crisis. Not to say that it's fixed or even remotely near being fixed,
Yeah.
but I think we did our part. I'm proud of it, and I'm proud to be your comrade in that effort.
Yeah, and let's give a big shout out to our comrades at the Newark Water Coalition. Our dear comrade Anthony Diaz for doing the kick ass work that he does. And I just wanted to touch on two other events that are coming up close, if we have a moment. We do,
Sure,
right?
go ahead. If I just turn away here, it's just because I'm making sure that they haven't started public comments
Oh,
yet, but I
yep,
can
yep.
hang out with you till Craig gets here.
Till Craig gets on. Yep.
Yep.
So this Sunday in New York City, at Herald Square, we have the People's Mobilization to Stop the War Machine. So that's this Sunday, Herald
Diane,
Square.
they did start public comments, so I'm going to drop off, but you
Okay,
can continue on without me, all
give me
right?
the details. Okay, so look for Brian's stream after this
That's right.
show. Okay, good luck.
I'll be back.
Okay, take care. So yes, just so our viewers have the information, we have the People's Mobilization to Stop the War Machine, Herald Square. That's this Sunday from 2 to 5. We also have Rage Against the War Machine. That's coming up on Friday, October 11th, and Saturday, October 12th. And that is going to be 2 days of action. The first day is the actual day of action, where there is a march and rally. The second day is a series of workshops and seminars with some great, wonderful peace activists coming out from all over the place. So definitely come on out. If you need more information for Rage Against the War Machine, you can go to marchonpentagon.com and get more information there. And for People's Mobilization to Stop the War Machine, I believe the event is People's Mob, and there is a Facebook event, so check that out. And I have an adorable little new co host that I may have to grab while we're waiting for Craig to come on the show. He should have the link, but we're going to follow up with him. While Brian is not here. No, it's not my new kitty. We're going to wait a while for us to get a new kitty, but this is Loki, Brian and family's new kitty. Okay. I think we have somebody coming on. Let's hear. Not here. No, it's not my new kitty. We're going to wait a while for us to get a new kitty. Okay. Hi, Craig.
Hey Diane, how are you?
Good. How are you?
All right, I'm just fresh from my town council meeting.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. Because that is one of the reasons you are on our show this evening.
Yes,
So thank you so much for
definitely.
tuning in. Is Kitty Loki distracting?
No, Loki's cool.
Okay. We don't have Brian in studio, so I needed a co-host. So we had Loki.
Definitely. I think that's going to help viewership right there.
I know. I know. Yep. It's not replacement Thorn. We all know
Oh yeah.
family lost our beloved 18-year-old cat Thorn the beginning of August, but we're going to wait a few months and then we will rescue somebody like a Loki or two when we're ready.
I can't tell how the lighting is, so I'm
Let's
trying
see.
to adjust.
Okay. Oh,
Okay.
I love your signs.
Oh yes, well yeah. Let's look at the wall. This is all of our heroes and comrades. We've got obviously
Excellent.
Seth Copperdale, who ran for governor. We've got Madeline Hoffman, who not only ran for Senate last time, but she's running in 2020 against Cory Booker. Diane Moxley. Oh, I wonder who that is.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Hopefully, she decides to run again. If not this time, maybe the next cycle. But
Who
definitely
knows? Who
got to
knows?
have that at the top, along with Jill Stein and Ajama Baraka.
Excellent. And we're going to see your sign up there really soon, right?
Oh yeah, we're working on the final batch to order. Just
Okay.
going to confirm that up this weekend.
Okay. So I know a lot of our local greens know who you are and know what you're doing right now, but for some of our viewers who may not know, Craig Cayetano has been a green for how long? When did you first become a green?
Oh, well, I originally had supported Ralph Nader way back when. So I had voted Nader and supported Nader then, but I kind of course, fell into the weeds and I didn't come back around until Philly when I exited with everybody.
Okay. So you sort of really dove into the Green Party back in 2016.
Correct. I
Okay.
knew that there's no way that things are going to change under the current setup and system. So it's going to take a little bit of time, but that's what our goal is, and we've been doing a great job, I think, of building this party, not just in New Jersey but nationally as well.
Okay, great. And you are a resident of Hawthorne and you are running for town council, is that correct?
That's correct. Town council for Ward 3.
Ward 3, town council. So, and I'm going to put this out there because a few weeks ago, I did some canvassing with you. I think
Hmm.
that was your first day of canvassing back on Labor Day weekend, right? I
Hmm.
know you've been doing a lot. You've been doing a lot in the community, so people know you and know your name. And I just want our viewers to know that Craig has a real shot at winning this thing. I was just so impressed with the positive response we got from the Hawthorne residents that we were coming in contact with. So if you haven't donated yet, regardless of where you live, this is our green candidate in New Jersey this year. So let's give you the resources, right? Because
Definitely.
this is doable. And we're
It,
always
it,
accused
it
of,
really is, Diane. And what's
yeah.
nice about it is you hear a lot of people say or try to chide Greens that run for congressional races, sometimes presidential races. So here's an opportunity where I'm running local, and I'm not just saying I'm a Green, I'm in the community. I'm part of our town Green team. And I'm also been a resident of 15 years in this town. So
Hmm.
I don't have a family. I don't have, the sports connection. So I'm been doing what I can with the time I have to try to help with at least with the green team and the environmental aspect of it. It just comes to the point where there's only so much that's going to get done. And that's why I decided to step up and run as a councilman because there's no way this existing leadership is going to bring forth any type of progressive ordinances. I mean, we're looking at all these other towns in New Jersey constantly,
Hmm.
either bringing up, styrofoam containers,
Hmm.
plastic bag bans, straw bans, things like that. And I just know from the way things are run here, or
Hmm.
have not been run here,
Hmm.
I should correct that, that the only way is to take a different approach. And I think we all can agree that there's a huge distaste towards the two major parties,
Hmm.
and we can all look at our local races. When I was helping with your campaign, Madeline's campaign,
Hmm.
Seth's campaign, how many unaffiliated voters are out there, and they're just waiting for a party that they feel that they can be a part of and participate in and feel that's almost legitimate this time. We see so many stories in this state of corruption, the machine, and I think this is a great opportunity to look on a local level, analyze the person, analyze the candidate, look at what can be done, at least on this level for this year.
And do you have the stats in the ward you're running in for unaffiliated voters
Last I checked, it was 1,305
in your ward?
in my ward.
Wow.
And the incumbent ran and won 4 years ago with 506 votes.
Wow. So you have this pool of potential voters that is not affiliated that is wonderful to target because you don't need, like you said, you need what's your target for voters
Obviously, the target would, we don't know the climate of this race. So the
hmm
target would try to be 750 to 1,000 votes.
but you
You would
only need just over, what did you say, 506?
exactly.
Yeah. So of course overshoot that, but so this is why this is a really, really doable election. And you've been out there in the community, you go to your town council meetings, you're a member of the green team, I remember a ways back you did a styrofoam drive and you're doing other
Yes, yes, and
things.
we're doing
Yeah.
another one in town, and it's little things like that that we see some of the other towns starting to embrace, and we need the ability to do that here. And knock on wood, you've been able to push through a few things. So I've also participated in a few of our green events, our Sell Earthbration Earth Day event, our Green Fair recently. Talk about electric vehicles, charging infrastructure, things
hmm
like that. So on a local level, what we can do here is we can put in bike corrals. We can try to focus new
What is
bike
that?
lanes that aren't on the main drag and try to connect the wards of this town together and bring it towards our business center. I mean, a lot of people always are complaining about parking and access to parking. If you take one parking space, you can turn it into a bike corral that can hold somewhere between 6 to 10 bikes. Right
Hmm.
there in the middle of downtown, people
hmm
can bike into town, partake in the business, and then leave. Charging stations, if we were to put even one level 2 charging station, which would be a little bit of investment, it draws people to the town. It puts Hawthorne's name on the map. People will come in, park their car, go have dinner for an hour or two, maybe see a movie, and then obviously come back to their car. I mean, it's just taking the approach of trying to generate business in the local community, focus on small businesses. So that's been another key thing here with this race, making a lot of connections with the small business community. We've had a friends at Strange Moon Creative Shop, have fun events, try to bring in people, try to tie in the environmental theme. And it's been well received. And we're proud to have our next event, which is next Friday, which is a voter registration drive
I
and
was
a
just
meet
going
and
to
greet.
ask you about that. What is the deadline for voter registration?
It is
Um,
October 15th, so we're
Plenty
running
of
on the
time.
end
Yeah.
of this, so we're getting near the end. So
Yep, but you've got time. So I think you should do at least two voter registration drives between
yeah,
now and probably more. Walk around with those voter registration forms all over Hawthorne, right?
exactly. So our connection with the small business district, we have Billy's Midway, which is an arcade,
hmm
is willing to open up the arcade. You get up to 2 hours free arcade in hour blocks. Come down, register to vote, have a few conversations, have some light refreshments from our other business that's helping us out, El Gallo, and have a fun night. I mean, that's the whole thing, is trying to connect to people, make this fun, make it warm, make it kind of inclusive. Because again, a lot of people don't like the way the two-party system works and a lot of the back and forth and bickering. So, as a Green Party candidate, we have a different opportunity, different path that we can lay out to present our case to be elected.
Excellent. And for a town like Hawthorne, you've lived there for over 15 years, correct?
Mhm.
Um, what do you think their top issues are? What's going on in Hawthorne? What matters to the residents of Hawthorne?
Well, tonight was the big town issue, and it's been coming to a head for a while. Is our trash collection. So they had contracted with a different company. And just like most things, it's good at first and then it starts to wane, but it's been really bad the last year, almost year and a half.
Hmm.
There's been complaints of missing trash pickup dates, leaking trucks brakes failing, people peeing on lawns, broken receptacles, and I think it finally bubbled to a head where the the town president put out a post on social media, which again, most of the council are not on social media.
Hmm.
They're kind of taken aback by it. You know, they just want to come in, do their job, and leave.
Hmm.
So a lot of the council people aren't really savvy with it, so they stay away from it. But
Hmm.
it was nice to hear that they actually brought this up tonight at our meeting.
Okay.
And I was a little concerned because there was a comment about the contractor possibly pulling out of the town. So I had to draw some information out of the mayor, the
Hmm.
administrator. So they are trying to consider a rebid or at least trying to break the contract. But again, it's like, what did they put in this contract? I mean, how many snafus, how many things can you let slide before you're allowed to break it without any penalties? But it's
Hmm.
simple things like that. I think addressing and putting more bike corrals in, trying to work towards a more green infrastructure in town, maybe implementing some solar on some of the buildings that are the borough owned, maybe the pool, the band shell, the borough hall as a starter point.
Hmm.
And it's just this town's kind of taken aback by a lot of stuff. A lot of these local towns people aren't aware of are still kind of Republican controlled.
Hmm.
And it's sad. I see my friends in Pompton Lakes dealing with DuPont and chemicals, my friends in Ringwood still dealing with the Ford plant,
Yeah.
and they're still controlled by a Republican council. I don't see the Democrats stepping up in the capacity that they need to. I'm hoping this race, and if we can, win this race,
Yeah.
will then make people realize that the Green Party could be a perfect vehicle to try to approach people in a different way.
Yeah.
And I think the environment is a huge issue for everybody these days. It's on the tip of everybody's tongue. So if we take that as this as the starter, and we can just propel into 2020 and 2021 with other races, I think we can make some serious headway in the state.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. And I know with environmental issues, like quite a few years back when the Pilgrim Pipeline was a lot more active and looking like it was going to happen, which it looks like people power so far has been successful at blocking that project. One thing that happened was, like you're saying, you have
Do
people in these
wonderful, meaningful
um,
actions in New Jersey because
northwest.
Oh,
Um,
little feedback.
yeah, you okay?
Yeah, we're good now.
Okay. But people in the affluent Northwest communities came out to the meetings that your, somewhat left environmental activists came out to. So there's always issues that we can find common grounds with. And like we said, you also have that larger number of unaffiliated voters than number of voters you need to win in that ward. So you have people that um, have decided to remain unaffiliated despite the threatening letters that the New Jersey Board of Elections likes to send out to us, letting us know that we're not allowed to vote in a primary, right?
Oh, exactly.
So despite those threatening letters, they still choose to remain unaffiliated. So there's something going on there. So even if you don't want to formally become a green, you might be able to be a bridge that piques people's interest, right?
Everybody's
And
been so nice when we were petitioning originally, and even now, everybody's been very open and warm. I think maybe only one or two people might have, you know, not been appreciative of our efforts, but for the most part, everybody's been supportive. And
excellent.
we'll keep campaigning. We have to still hit the rest of the districts in the ward, and then obviously we'll make a final materials push before election day.
So, what is the best way for our viewers to plug into what's going on with your campaign?
So I have a website. It's Cayetano, Cayetano, number four council.com. And I'm also on Facebook, obviously, with the same Cayetano for Council, Instagram. Twitter. So Twitter is green number 4 ward 3, and yeah, everybody's been great on social media. I put a lot of stuff on Facebook. I've was tapped on the shoulder at our Art in the Park county event the other day by the vice president of the Board of Ed. So he was letting me know about the Board of Ed meeting yesterday. So I stopped by. They took a tour of the schools that are. Uh, there's a referendum next Tuesday in town that needs to pass. There's 80 something years of renovations that have not been done in these schools in this town.
Mm,
It's very kick the can down the field type of mentality. So
yeah.
they're trying to do, and they've done some little jobs here and there in the past like 5 years, which look great, but there's a huge amount of renovations that need to get done. So
Yeah.
I was glad to see that, talk to people there, and obviously, throw my support behind that initiative because we need to get the referendum in this town passed for the schools.
Excellent. And probably your Facebook page would be the best place to get information because some of our viewers might want to come out and canvas with you. Do you have any canvassing events coming up that our
Yes,
viewers?
for sure. We have, well, our big event is this Saturday is Hawthorne Day,
Okay.
which is going to be from 12 to 8. And it's the big town event. Everybody's going to be there. So if people want to come and table, we can greatly appreciate the help and assistance. We're going to canvas on Sunday morning early, grab a quick bite, and then go canvassing because we're going to head to Herald Square
Oh,
in the
excellent.
afternoon.
Oh, good. Good.
And then, of course, we'll be canvassing every Sunday up until Election Day. And of course, our
Excellent.
big meet and greet, gaming with the Greens, which is Friday the 27th from 7 to 9 at Billy's Midway Arcade in Hawthorne.
And do you have a donation link set up?
Yes,
Okay.
donations are acceptable on my website.
Okay.
If I can log back in, I will put the post in the
Oh
thread here
yeah,
for
you could
everybody too
put it
to
in
check out.
comments. And really, New Jersey Greens, this is our candidate this year. And um yeah, I was really impressed when we were canvassing that I got nothing but positive. People were excited that you weren't a Democrat or a Republican. People were frustrated with the current town council. So it's just great. I love talking to people individually. I love the one-on-one, little small groups, and the response was just amazing. So I'm gonna just put this out there again. As you can see, Craig popped up his donation link. And as I said when I was running for office, no amount is too small because I know you need your canvassing materials. We want some beautiful signs up in Hawthorne. Um, so much of this is about getting your name out because you are you're fighting against the regular systems that are out there, and it really seems like once the people hear that there's another choice and another alternative, um their eyes brighten, they get excited. So guys, really, especially our New Jersey Greens and green friendly, any amount to help Craig get his canvassing materials and come out and canvas. So, do you have some of your flyers with you? What are your talking points on your canvassing flyers? You have them memorized yet?
Oh, I have a bunch of things I've worked on. There's
Yeah.
still stuff coming. I
Okay.
always keep
You
a
could
good
show
supply
her.
of stuff with me. So
Vote
I
Craig
do have my flyers,
Carpatano.
and
Great.
obviously my main thing is I signed the no fossil fuel pledge. As a Green Party candidate, we're all inherently behind that, but the pledge was nice. I had to cross out the $200 and make it $0 and make everybody aware. The problem with a lot of candidates that might be attached to the main parties, you
Hmm.
do see some ties to developers. I mean, I have friends in Patterson and other cities that know the candidates that are attached to developer and corporate money and things like that. So,
Yeah.
number one, proud to support no corporate money, no PAC money. Number two, obviously, I have a whole environmental plank that I would love to bring in terms of a green business plan to the town and work on some green infrastructure there.
Yeah.
It's all about small businesses and bolstering small businesses. I don't want to turn to chains and big box stores because that is not the solution. If we work a one-to-one level, I'm sure we can get these businesses to embrace some of these ordinances, really see that the means of switching to a green model will actually bolster their business and bring customers to them. I think by putting in charging stations will also assist, and even adding bike corrals. That's and adding better bike paths because even down near our train station, there's no bike corrals for anybody. So it just boggles my mind on how some of this stuff it seems so just blatantly obvious that has not been addressed in the past. So I'm glad to take the heat and the steam.
Yeah.
But what's nice to hear is when I go talk to people, they're saying, "Look, we're going to vote. We're going to vote for the person, not the party this time." So I'm just trying to be that person, be that advocate, listen,
Yeah.
and and learn every step of the way.
Yeah. So you're not in there to, get your friends some contracts, get your friends, a fast track to like a certain paid positions that the municipality governs. So you're there to make change. You've been a long term resident of Hawthorne, and you're just doing this to because you genuinely care about Hawthorne. You want to see them grow locally. And yeah, I love your slant towards environmentalism and how a municipality can work with that because we need dramatic change everywhere. So, I think Craig can get us that change. So, any small amount, guys, donate $5, $10 would be huge if all of our viewers right now just went and popped on that link that is in our comments.
$10 if you come to Hawthorne Day, or if you're local in New
Okay.
Jersey, we'll get you a limited edition Green Party coloring book
Oh,
with,
excellent. I didn't
with
even know we had
activities.
those. Oh, I want one.
So we're trying everything. We again, the whole point of the campaign is to be engaging, opening, listening, and make it fun. Because that's the one thing most people hate this system, hate this process. So let's make it fun,
Yeah.
and let's really try to roll up our sleeves and find a way together to make some honest change.
Excellent. I'm so glad you're running.
Oh, thanks so much, Diane.
Yeah. So thank you for coming on. I'm glad you're going to go to the event at Herald Square on Sunday. I know you did your XR New Jersey thing on at the VMAs, so
Yes,
you're
we have
exempt
that still
from.
ongoing, but
Yeah.
the main purpose was again to bring attention to the issue. It was funny how Newark was ignoring and ignoring and ignoring, and then the day of, magically, the $120 million bond showed up.
Mhm.
Oh, and oh, it's a solution. No, it's not because they have to repay that. So look, and
Yeah.
then this action happens, gets national coverage for every group, and it was a coalition. It was a great action combined between
Yeah.
Newark Water Coalition, Green Party of New Jersey, Extinction Rebellion. You had New African Black Panther Party. You also had I saw some DSA there.
Yep.
Lots of groups involved. It was great to see everybody come together behind this cause, and it propelled it into national media. And I think it finally woke Mr. Booker up to realizing that maybe he has to actually do something. He's voted in. He supposedly cares about us, and he's running for president and senator, and what else he wants to run for. I mean, Murphy will make that happen. But
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
it, it had to happen. It had to get in the spotlight, and it draws attention, and then work is going to get done. Hopefully, and these people are going to have some clean water. I started to see some of the lead lines being replaced already. But definitely,
Excellent.
we got to
Yeah.
keep the heat on them.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate that it takes sometimes dramatic direct action to get this issue in the mainstream media and get national attention. But I'm so appreciative to you guys for being able to do that. I know it's a sacrifice. I really appreciate it. And you guys are still in process working out, which we're not going to talk about because we know that part of an action and an activism world, there's an idea set for people that have been doing direct action for many, many years that an action is not done until everyone is through the court system. So we are, all making sure that you guys have the right support you need to get through this. And we thank you so much for your service because, like you said, now the money's there before you guys did the action. And we know that even when the Essex County freeholders made the announcement about giving the large loan to the city of Newark, until they got word that there was going to be a large action at the Video Music Awards, it was radio silence. This lead issue has been out there for at least 3 years, and arguably it was even earlier than that. But we know it's been longer than 3 years that children have been drinking lead water, that pregnant women have been drinking water with lead, and even adults. Nobody needs lead in their water. So, this is a beautiful way of seeing the direct impact of direct action. So, we all can't thank you enough for what you do. So, clearly, we can see Craig's got his head on straight and cares about the people of Newark. He cares about the people of Hawthorne. This is somebody who's going to really, I believe you're going to get things done. I believe because you care. You're not in it for a big ego. You're not in it for money. You're in it for change. So,
Exactly. It's all
yeah,
about change.
yeah.
And it takes time because we were out campaigning for Seth Copperdale for governor,
Hmm.
and we were talking about this issue then, which was now over 2 years ago. And look here, look at where we are now, how long it takes things to progress. And
Yeah,
sometimes other issues like look at Green New Deal. We were out there way before I was a Green,
yeah, yeah.
but they were not there for a very long time talking about it. And in
And now,
2012, Jill ran on it. 2016, Jill ran on it again. And then all of a sudden now you start to see everybody intersect. And again, it's in the conversation.
yeah,
That's the main thing. It's in the conversation. We're there. We're an integral part of a lot of these movements.
yep,
And I think people need to realize that the Green Party is there, is actively involved, and is trying to bring about true, honest change without any personal intent, or personal
hmm,
gain from it.
yeah, yeah. And we serve a purpose. We're out there pushing these issues that then eventually come to the mainstream. So thank you so much. Do we have any other? I don't know that we have any other events we haven't plugged. I will also make our plug for donations to NJ Revolution Radio. You could go to our website. And I'm also interested in any show ideas that our viewers would have that they'd like to see. Either a speaker they'd like to see or a topic that you'd like a panel on. I would ask you to message the NJ Revolution Radio Facebook page. Because we're viewer run. So we're here for you. And I'll see you on Sunday, maybe on Saturday, Craig.
Oh, that'd be great, Diane.
Saturday and Sunday. I owe
Look,
you.
look what I got for you.
Oh,
I'll
good. I
keep one
got
aside.
okay.
Oh, and I just got a message from Craig Seaman from Green Party New York.
Oh,
They've rescheduled the Green Party United States Green Wave Telethon. It
excellent.
is going to now be October 3rd, which is a
October
Thursday
3rd.
evening, from 7 to 9 p.m. So Green Party US National is going to have a telethon type show where a lot of the campaigns are going to have videos or have candidates actually on, and we're a featured candidate. So we're happy to
Excellent.
announce that we will be on that show on that date. So please stay tuned, check us out there as well. And I don't want to steal your tagline. I love your tagline, how you end the show. So
Oh, okay. So I'm just gonna say congrats for getting the spotlight for the telethon. That's
thank you.
excellent. So
Thanks,
everybody